Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, coin enthusiasts. If you love the thrill of discovering rare and valuable coins, then this video is for you. Today, we're going to uncover the mystery behind one of the most legendary and expensive coins in American history, the 1894 Barber Dime. This coin might just look like an ordinary dime at first glance, but it's anything but that. In fact, it's one of the most coveted and sought-after coins in the world of numismatics. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be blown away by its rare history and jaw-dropping value. The 1894 Barber Dime is part of the Barber series designed by Charles E. Barber, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. It was minted from 1892 to 1916 and is known for its classic design featuring Lady Liberty on the obverse, wearing a headband inscribed with the word Liberty, and a traditional laurel wreath on the reverse. The Barber Dime is a favorite among collectors due to its elegant design and the fact that it's part of the classic silver coinage used during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. So, what makes the 1894 Barber Dime so special? Well, let's start with the rarity of this coin. While millions of Barber Dimes were minted over the years, the 1894 issue is one of the rarest and most elusive of the series. Here's where things get really interesting. The number of 1894 Barber Dimes minted that year is astonishingly low, with only 24 coins believed to have been struck. Yes, you heard that right, only 24 of these coins were minted, making it one of the rarest coins in American history. But why were only 24 coins minted? Well, this is where the story takes a truly fascinating turn. The 1894 Barber Dime was actually minted as part of a special request. It's believed that these dimes were struck as a personal favor for a high-ranking mint official, and they were never intended to be part of the regular circulation. In fact, most of these dimes were never even released to the public, and the coins that were minted were kept under wraps. Over the years, many of them were lost or disappeared into private collections, adding to the mystique and value of this rare coin. Now, let's talk about the condition of the 1894 Barber Dime. Because only a handful of these coins were ever made, the ones that have survived are highly prized for their condition. Many of the surviving coins have been kept in private collections, often in mint state or close to it. The better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. A coin in pristine condition with no signs of wear or damage can fetch a substantial premium over a coin that has seen heavy circulation. But there's even more to the allure of the 1894 Barber Dime than its rarity and condition. Over the years, this coin has become the subject of legend and has been tied to some mysterious stories about its discovery and its owners. One of the most famous stories involves a coin that was sold at auction for an astounding price, fueling even more interest in this already legendary dime. The mystique surrounding the 1894 Barber Dime has only increased its desirability among collectors, making it a highly coveted piece for anyone looking to complete their collection of rare American coins. What makes this coin even more exciting for collectors is the history behind it. The 1894 Barber Dime was minted during a time of significant change in American coinage, just before the introduction of the Mercury Dime in 1916. So, owning one of these rare dimes isn't just about the coin itself, it's about owning a piece of American history. It's a reminder of the past and a link to a time when coinage was crafted with artistry and care. So, how much could a rare 1894 Barber Dime be worth today? Well, brace yourself for the price. This elusive coin, in good condition, can fetch a staggering $100,500, yes, $100,500 for a single dime. That's the kind of price tag that gets serious collectors excited and shows just how much a rare coin can appreciate in value. Whether you find one in an old coin jar or inherit one from a relative, if you happen to come across an 1894 Barber Dime, make sure to hold onto it and get it professionally appraised. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you're a collector, or even just someone with a curiosity for coins, you're going to want to listen closely today. We're going to talk about a coin that you may have overlooked in your change, but could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. We're talking about the 1967 Roosevelt Dime, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but with the right conditions or certain rare errors, it can skyrocket in value. Stick around, because this little dime could be hiding something much bigger than you realize. Let's start with the basics. The 1967 Roosevelt dime is part of the iconic Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946 and continues to be produced to this day. Designed by the talented engraver John R. Sinek, the coin features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, along with the familiar torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. This dime was minted in silver from 1946 to 1964, but in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel composition, which means the 1967 version is made of a different material, while the 1967 dime was produced in large numbers. The reason it has garnered attention over the years is because of the rarity and collectability of certain versions of this coin. Sure, a regular 1967 Roosevelt dime in circulation might not be worth much more than its face value of 10 cents. But when you start looking at error coins, things get interesting. One of the most notable errors on the 1967 Roosevelt dime is the D/D mintmark error. This occurs when the mintmark, which indicates where the coin was struck, is doubled. In this case, the mintmark D was struck over another D, creating a noticeable doubling effect. This minting flaw makes the coin rare and highly sought after by collectors. If you have a 1967 Roosevelt dime with this D/D mintmark error, you're holding a much more valuable coin than most people realize. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. This can result in a misaligned design or even partial missing details. These off-center coins are prized by collectors because they are unique and represent a flaw in the minting process that isn't commonly found. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin can become. But what about the condition of the coin? That's another factor that plays a huge role in determining the value of a 1967 Roosevelt dime. Like any collectible item, the better the condition, the more it's worth. A well-preserved coin with minimal wear or damage can command a premium price, especially if it has been kept in mint condition. Some 1967 dimes have survived in nearly perfect condition, and these coins are highly coveted by collectors who are looking to complete their sets. Now, you might be wondering, how much can a 1967 Roosevelt dime actually be worth? Well, if you happen to have one of those rare minting errors like the D/D mintmark or an off-center strike in excellent condition, you could be sitting on a gold mine. In fact, depending on the condition and rarity of the error, a 1967 Roosevelt dime could be worth a staggering $41,500. Yes, that's right, $41,500 for a single dime. Just think about it, this could be sitting in your pocket change or in an old coin jar, and if you have the right version, it could be worth thousands of dollars. So, next time you come across a 1967 dime, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look and see if you have one of those special versions that could bring in a substantial return. For those of you who love the thrill of discovering rare coins, the 1967 Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how a simple, everyday coin can turn into a collector's dream. Whether it's the minting errors, the condition of the coin, or just the rarity of the piece, this coin has all the elements that make it desirable to coin collectors around the world. Today I've got a story that will change your perspective completely. In this video, we're diving into a coin that may have been sitting in your pocket change for decades and could be worth a small fortune. We're talking about the 1975 Roosevelt dime, a coin that, on the surface, might seem like just another dime, but in reality, it could be worth thousands, yes, thousands of dollars, if you know what to look for. Stay tuned, because this coin is not as ordinary as it seems. Let's start with the basics. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, just after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features a profile of Roosevelt on the obverse and a combination of a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. The 1975 Roosevelt dime, in particular, was struck as part of regular circulation and has a familiar design that collectors all around the world recognize. But before you brush it off as just another dime, let's take a closer look at what makes this particular coin unique. In general, 1975 Roosevelt dimes are still relatively easy to find in circulation, and their value is typically just 10 cents. So, why does it make the list of rare and valuable coins? Well, just like many other coins, the value of the 1975 dime depends heavily on a few key factors: rarity, condition, and most notably, errors. These factors, when combined, can make the 1975 Roosevelt dime worth far more than its face value. Let's start with minting errors. If you're a coin collector, you know that errors are one of the best ways to uncover a rare find. One of the most interesting mistakes to look for on the 1975 Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin doesn't align properly during the minting process, resulting in a misprinted design. If you find a 1975 dime with a noticeable off-center design, it could be worth significantly more than its normal counterpart, especially if the misprint is dramatic and includes parts of the image missing or poorly struck. The rarer and more extreme the error, the higher the potential value. Another error to be on the lookout for is the double die. This occurs when the die used to stamp the image onto the coin shifts or strikes multiple times, causing the design to appear doubled. While this error is more common in certain years, double die errors on a 1975 Roosevelt dime are still considered quite rare and are highly prized by collectors. A well-struck double die can really stand out, with noticeable doubling on features like Roosevelt's portrait or even the lettering and date. So, if you come across a 1975 dime with a double die error, you might just have a valuable coin on your hands. Now, let's talk about condition. As with any collectible, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The better the coin's condition, the higher its potential worth. If you come across a 1975 Roosevelt dime that is in mint condition, meaning it looks practically brand new with no wear and tear, it will definitely fetch more than a well-worn coin. But, it's not just about how it looks. The luster of the coin, how shiny and reflective it is, also plays a big role in determining its value. Coins with strong luster and minimal contact marks are extremely sought after by collectors, and they can command a premium price on the market. For those of you who are interested in more than just the typical errors and conditions, there's also a fascinating bit of history behind the 1975 Roosevelt dime that adds to its appeal. In 1975, the U.S. Mint was in the middle of a transition. The 1976 bicentennial coins were just around the corner, and the Mint was dealing with a lot of pressure and changes. It's believed that during this time, a handful of dimes were struck with minor inconsistencies, which makes certain 1975 dimes more intriguing. The combination of errors, rarity, and the time period during which these coins were produced makes them highly desirable for collectors who are interested in American history and coinage. So, what's the bottom line? How much can a 1975 Roosevelt dime actually be worth? Well, it's time to get to the exciting part. If you happen to find a 1975 dime with one of these rare errors, or in exceptional condition, it could fetch a staggering $37,000, yes, that's right, $37,000 for a single dime. Can you believe it? It's not just about the age or the fact that it's a dime, it's about the unique characteristics that make this coin stand out from the rest. So, the next time you're going through your pocket change, make sure to pay extra attention to any 1975 Roosevelt dimes. You never know, you might be holding on to a small fortune without even realizing it. Today we're diving into a coin that might seem like just another dime, but in reality, it could be worth a small fortune. That's right, we're talking about the 1974 Roosevelt dime, a coin that has quietly become a collector's gem. Most people would overlook this dime, but those in the know are aware of its rarity, errors, and hidden value that can make it worth far more than its face value of just 10 cents. So, stick around and let's uncover why this little coin could be sitting in your collection waiting to make you a substantial amount of money. Let's start with some background. The 1974 Roosevelt dime is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, following his passing. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features a profile of Roosevelt on the front, with the reverse side showing a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing peace, unity, and strength. While the 1974 edition of the dime isn't particularly rare in terms of production, there are a few factors that make this coin so appealing to collectors. One of the biggest reasons this coin has gained attention in the numismatic world is due to its unique minting errors and rare variations. And just like with other error coins, the value can skyrocket if you happen to find one of these rare specimens. One of the most exciting errors found on the 1974 Roosevelt dime is the D/D mintmark error. What does this mean? It happens when the D mintmark, the letter used to indicate that the coin was struck in Denver, was struck over another D mintmark. This creates a noticeable doubling effect, making it stand out from a regular dime. The D/D error is one of the most sought-after mistakes in coin collecting, and if you're lucky enough to find one of these coins, you could have a valuable treasure on your hands, but that's not all. Another error to watch out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is improperly aligned during the minting process, resulting in a misaligned design. You might find a 1974 Roosevelt dime with parts of the image missing or partially stamped, creating a unique and highly collectible coin. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. This is the kind of find that makes every coin roll you check feel like a potential jackpot. Aside from errors, the condition of the coin also plays a major role in determining its value. Like any collectible, coins that are in excellent, uncirculated condition are much more valuable than those that show significant wear and tear. A well-preserved 1974 Roosevelt dime with its original shine and crisp details will command a premium price compared to a coin that's seen heavy circulation over the years. If you're lucky enough to find a dime from this year that has been kept in mint condition, you're holding a piece of numismatic history. Now, you might be wondering, just how much could a 1974 Roosevelt dime be worth if you find one with rare errors or in exceptional condition? Well, here comes the exciting part. If you have a D/D error dime, or an off-center strike, or simply one in fantastic shape, you could be looking at a value of $36,000. Yes, that's right, $36,000 for a single dime. Isn't it crazy to think that a coin that was originally worth just 10 cents could be worth that much? But it's true, and it's a perfect example of how the world of coin collecting can be full of unexpected treasures. So, what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1974 Roosevelt dime in your collection, make sure to examine it closely. Look for any signs of minting errors like the D/D mintmark or off-center strikes. And if it's in great condition, you could be holding onto a coin worth a small fortune. Today, we've got a special treat for all you collectors out there. We're about to dive into a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change, unnoticed, but it could actually be worth thousands of dollars. That's right, we're talking about the 1991 Roosevelt dime, a coin that, on the surface, seems like just another dime, but with the right conditions and rare characteristics, it could be worth a fortune. So grab your magnifying glass and stick with us, because we're about to uncover what makes this seemingly humble coin one of the most sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. The Roosevelt dime is part of the iconic series that was first issued in 1946, designed by John R. Sinek in honor of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The design features Roosevelt's profile on the front, symbolizing leadership and strength, and on the reverse, you have a combination of a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, representing peace and unity. Now, let's talk about the 1991 Roosevelt dime in particular. Most people would overlook this coin, assuming it's just another dime that's been in circulation for years. However, 1991 is one of those years where, despite the dimes being widely produced, rarity and collector demand can make certain coins from that year worth a lot more than you might expect. So, why is this specific year catching the eye of collectors? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about condition. As with most valuable coins, the condition of the 1991 Roosevelt dime plays a huge role in its value. A well-preserved coin, free from wear and tear, scratches, or discoloration, is always going to fetch a much higher price than a coin that has been heavily circulated. So, if you happen to find a 1991 dime that still has its original shine, with sharp details and no visible marks, you could be holding a highly valuable coin. Coins like these are highly coveted because they represent a piece of history that's been kept in exceptional condition, but it's not just the regular condition that makes this dime rare. Let's talk about errors. the real treasure for any collector. The 1991 Roosevelt dime has some unique errors that can make it incredibly valuable. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike, where the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process. This causes part of the design to be missing or misaligned, creating a distinctive and rare coin that stands out from the rest. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. A 1991 dime with a noticeable off-center strike can be worth far more than a regular dime, especially if it's a severe misalignment that makes the coin stand out as a one-of-a-kind piece. Another potential error that can add significant value to the 1991 Roosevelt dime is the double die. This error happens when the minting die is improperly aligned during the striking process, resulting in doubled images of certain elements of the coin. On the 1991 dime, this could mean doubled lettering or a double-struck image of Roosevelt's profile. Double die coins are highly sought after by collectors because they are rare and unique. If you happen to find a 1991 Roosevelt dime with a clear double die error, you could be looking at a premium coin that could fetch a higher price than other dimes from that year. So, if you find a 1991 Roosevelt dime with one of these error types, especially one that's in unblemished condition, you've got yourself something truly special. The value of these dimes can go from just 10 cents to something much higher depending on the rarity of the error and the condition of the coin. Now, you're probably wondering, just how much can a 1991 Roosevelt dime be worth? Well, if you find a well-preserved coin with one of these rare errors, like a double die or off-center strike, the value could reach as high as $30,500. Yes, you heard that right, $30,500 for a single dime. It's incredible to think that something as small as a dime could hold such value, but that's the magic of rare and error coins. So, next time you're going through your pocket change or searching through rolls of coins, make sure to take a close look at any 1991 Roosevelt dimes you come across. You never know, you might have a hidden treasure waiting for you. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future coin discoveries. As always, happy hunting, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins can be worth the most. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.